I'm happy to be here today, but not happy about this topic. I want to talk to you a topic I'm going to have to work a little bit of words around because we're not allowed to say it, right? But I get that's for our protection sometimes, but it's also to our detriment. So I'm going to talk about the men who are allowed. That's what I'm calling this: the men who are allowed to harm women, the men who are allowed to harm children. And yes, there's some evil women in these categories too, as we're learning more and more. I did some research and I want to say even I was surprised by what I found. I wrote this article. If you guys want to check it out, and what I really talk about is there's this fear campaign, right? That oh my gosh, these people, these others, they're going to be assaulting the women and the children. And there's just this big push, and sometimes I'll be on social media, and people will share these pictures of women and children who are assaulted, and this is terrible. Nobody should be assaulting women and children. Like, let me just make that part clear. But the bottom line is it happens all the time. But there's some men who are loud. There's some men who it's not that big of a deal. They have a bright future. They're too important, whatever. And that's what I really want to talk about today is some of what I found in doing this research. And let's think about this, okay? Women and children have historically been property of a man. And if you listen to people in these evangelical churches, they're still teaching it to this day. The church that goes to is a church that talks about moving away and not having 19th Amendment right for women, right? They want to remove us having the right to vote, having the right to predetermination, having the right to be autonomous human beings. So this is the thing. When you're property, it doesn't matter what happens to you. What matters is who does it to you. And that's really what we're talking about. So when you look at the rhetoric here, what's going on, and I just kind of wanted to keep this article up. There's a lot of information that I wrote into this article on data, right? So I want to make sure that you have real, actual, factual data sources so that you could talk about this. So, let's talk about one thing that comes up a lot, bipartisanship, okay? The abuse of women is bipartisan. So I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, if you're saying, oh, well, what about Trump? Well, what about Biden? What about the fact of his sexual harassment situations that people don't talk about? What about Bill Clinton? I love this photo here, really just highlighting Bill and Donald. They're really the same people, right? They're out there doing these things to women, and that's what happens. Let's talk about the men who have permission, okay? We're going to highlight the fact that it's the clergy, right? So this is a mega church pastor, and he was convicted. He admitted that he had sexually assaulted a child, right? And this is not uncommon. All the data is in here. I call it the holy right to essay, right? I mean, because that's what it is they say, oh, it's okay. And you know what really inspired me to be so angry to come on today? Because I was tired. I don't want to come on today. Bottom line is out in Utah, they just said in the Mormon church, whatever is going on there, they have the privilege to not have to share that. The privilege to not have to share that they are essaying children and they are essaying women. Okay. Then we're going to talk about police. Okay. This man here, he took a plea deal. It should have been 25 years. He got down to 8. So one of the things that's really consistent too is that if you are a white man and you do these things, you get a much, much lighter sentence than if you are someone of color. I go into that later on in the article because I want people to understand that it is not about it's not about us being essayed. It is about who is allowed to do it. That's what they care about. They do not want their property abused. So then you have all these statistics here on police. And then my favorites is all the young men. They're promising careers. The reason they can't. A lot of people talk about Brock Turner. I will say Brock is in here. But I wanted to highlight this young Camden Doyle, who was at BYU. He decided that he was going to essay a little girl from the ages of 7 to 12 years old. And he got away, super late sentence. I don't even know if he served any jail time or not. I'd have to go back and do more research on that. But the bottom line is, these boys, these young men, they get away with it. Why? Because they have promising careers. And, why would you waste that on just a woman, of just a piece of property, right? Then let's talk about the incarceration rates. Who's not allowed to do this? It is people of color. That is why they want the immigrants out. That is why they're willing to spend all this money, is because we are not allowed to be essayed by these people because we're taking away from the ones who are. It is absolutely bizarre. I don't know why more women are not talking about this. And I really want to talk about this part the most. This is where I'm kind of rushing through the beginning, is what happens when property, that would be anybody like me, property fights back. And the scary thing on the stories here is these were all women of color. And I want to give a shout out to all my sisters out there, all the womanhood across all of humanity and around the world. Okay, we all have the same issue because there's not a country that you can go to where you're safe. It's not like, oh, if I went my child to X place, I'd be safe. Okay, we are not safe. Okay, this is global. This is what's going on in the United States that I'm talking about right now. But you can go to any country, and this is what happens. If you've seen some of my other articles and stuff I read a lot about this. Okay, this to me is absolutely terrifying. These sentences that these girls, children, got for killing or harming the men who were abusing them were worse than what the abusers get. Okay, I mean, that is absolutely criminal to me. This is where, ladies, we've got to step up. If you have a chance to vote for a woman who's not an abuser or enabling abuser, these are the women that we need to vote for. We need to vote for women who are going to recognize this. When you look at societies where it's proving they have more and more women that they are putting in charge, women who understand empathy, women who understand that we have to be looking out for each other because these men out there globally are not doing it. I mean, they have literally had to go into places like Kenya and put a sanctuary city where women can live together who have been assaulted. It is absolutely horrific. And I'll tell you, I think that we should have more of those sanctuary cities, right? Because this is absolutely obscene. It is sickening. It should not be allowed. So what does this mean for us women? First of all, we got to fight, okay? Like, we've got to name this. We've got to be okay with saying this is wrong. And I'm avoiding it for the algorithms. I can't say the R word. I can't say the other word. But the thing is these are citizens. These are the police. These are priests. These are pastors. These are politicians. These are fathers, husbands, boys with futures. These are the ones who have permission, and we have to stop giving them permission. We need to raise daughters who are not raised in male-centric households, where they are raised in households where they are taught they are autonomous. But let me give this one to you, ladies, okay? And this is where we didn't know. It's the first time women around the globe have had basic human rights. So, it's going to be tough for us, right? But we have to do better with the boys, okay? And really, we need to teach boys from the earliest ages. It is okay to experience the full range of human emotions. It is okay. Boys cry, okay? Boys cry. That is okay. We have to, like, soft boys on all these kinds of things, using gender terms like it's weak to be a girl, you throw like a girl. We have to change that narrative for them from the very, very youngest of ages, because right now they're getting so much toxic masculinity out there. They are searching, and we have an opportunity to help them. So don't forget about the boys. And I am not saying the men who some people refer to as boys now. I'm talking about the actual human children that people are raising today. Because in the end, we have to flip it on the script. We have to change the entire patriarchy. And I just want you to think about that for just a minute. What this really means is an overwhelming task. But to my sisters out there in South Korea with the 4B movement, and everyone out there who's been flipping the script and saying, no, no more free labor, no more unconditional domestic 24/7 baby machine. I love the lyrics that are coming out from women today. I love the strength that women have. And that's why they are afraid. For the very, very first time in history, women around the globe are getting freedom for the first time. And the people who did these systems and set up these systems, they don't like it. They don't like their property rebelling. So we have a lot of opportunities too for alliances in the United States with, other people of color, people in the LGBTQ community. And when you're looking in international community, you're going to realize that there's other people that you can partner with and disenfranchised people. So let's be strong together. Let's be accepting of allies, but at the same time, don't question why it's happening now. It's always happened. We're just finally able to do something about it. So stay strong, and I will see you guys soon.